Welcome to the SABC News COVID-19 Global Wrap, where we bring you highlights of stories that dominated the news across the globe with regards to the coronavirus pandemic. I am Pabalole Phaka, but I'm not alone, and I'm joined by my colleague Busisiwe Khatebe. But before we get into it, let us have a look at where we are standing globally with regards to statistics on the coronavirus.
The global stats at the moment for confirmed coronavirus cases are sitting at over 2.7 million and deaths are at over 190,000. And in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa made an announcement on the easing down of lockdown measures, moving South Africa from level 5 to level 4.
There will be 5 coronavirus levels. The first level is what we call level 5, which means that drastic measures are required to contain the spread of the virus to save lives. Level 4 means that some activity can be allowed to resume subject to extreme precautions required to limit community transmission and outbreaks.
On Tuesday, the president made an announcement of a 500 billion stimulus package, which most political parties have welcomed.
Cabinet considered various proposals and finalized the social relief and economic support package that stands at the center of the second phase of our economic response. This involves, firstly, an extraordinary health budget to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. Secondly, the relief of hunger and social distress. Thirdly, support for companies and workers. And fourthly, the phased reopening of the economy. The impact of the coronavirus requires an extraordinary coronavirus budget of around 500 billion rand to direct resources towards fighting the pandemic.
Gender-based violence under lockdown was in the spotlight this week. This as many numbers have been reported of gender-based violence, which include rape, marital rape, incest, and assault. On to the rest of Africa. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has said the impact of COVID-19 will last for years. The IMF Executive Board has approved the immediate debt relief for over 25 countries to help address the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
First, strong solidarity with Africa at a very difficult moment for the continent. Second, mobilizing with Africa. We identified $114 billion fiscal needs, already $57 billion delivered, of which $18 billion from the IMF, and also we have contributed to debt relief. 3, more needs to be done. We ought to continue on that journey with Africa, stand with Africa.
Politicians from African countries are calling for the African Union to investigate claims into the discrimination and abuse against African migrants in China.
South Africa, in its capacity as the chair of the African Union, is indeed deeply concerned about reports of the alleged ill treatment of African nationals in China. These reports of alleged allegations, or rather of alleged actions against African nationals, are inconsistent with the excellent relations that exist between China and Africa, dating back to China's support during the decolonization struggle in Africa, and now manifesting in an extensive Africa-China partnership.
Moving over to some international news now. Now, two major events took place in the United States this week. These include the easing of some lockdown regulations in a bid to sort of reopen the economy and get the economy running again, and some anti-lockdown protests. On the 22nd of April, US President Donald Trump tweeted, "States are safely coming back. Our country is starting to open for business again. Special care is and always will be given to our beloved seniors, except me. Their lives will be better than ever. We love you all." However, the World Health Organization has cautioned against an abrupt easing to lockdown in order to avoid a resurgence of coronavirus cases. In Europe, Spain has now overtaken Italy with the second highest cases in the world, with over 213,000 infections and over 22,000 deaths. However, a slowdown of the infection rate has made it easier to relax some lockdown restrictions. And in China, Wuhan, which was once the epicenter, saw a lifting to the lockdown last week. Malls were reopened and companies were also allowed to start operating. However, residents' committees continue to keep watch as some people are still living in the fear that the coronavirus could come creeping back.
For the latest updates on the coronavirus, visit sabcnews.com.